went to voters favored amending the Constitution to replace the Electoral College with the national popular vote. During the first decade of the 21st century, the figure hovered just above 60%, including majorities of both Democrats and Republicans. Indeed, from the 1940s to the present, no national opinion poll reported that a majority of Americans preferred to keep the Electoral College. Republican support for the Electoral College did rise sharply after the 2016 election, but it remains to be seen whether that shift will prove to be durable. Polls also indicate that many Americans are confused about what the Electoral College is and how it works. Historically, unhappiness with the Electoral College has had multiple origins and shifting emphases. At one time or another, serious criticism has been aimed at every distinctive feature of the institution. The ink on the Constitution was barely dry when detractors began to argue that the complex apparatus of choosing obscure individuals as intermediaries to cast a state's electoral votes was unnecessary. That view became increasingly common as the colleges of electors that convened in every state showed no sign of deliberating in the manner envisioned by the framers of the Constitution. Other early critics concluded that electors also posed a risk to popular government because they were legally free to vote for whomever they wished. The presence of agents to execute the will of the people heightened the danger of the people's wishes being frustrated, observed President Andrew Jackson. Worries about faithless electors, as the problem came to be called, have persisted into the 21st century, although no faithless elector has yet determined the outcome of an election. Criticism of winner-take-all, originally labeled the general ticket and sometimes called the unit rule, also began in the early years of the Republic. The practice first appeared, rather benignly, in a few states in the 1790s, yet within a decade it was being attacked, with reason, as a partisan maneuver at variance with the intentions of the Constitution's authors, an illegitimate offspring of faction, one newspaper called it in 1804. Despite such criticism, and despite repeated congressional efforts to ban the practice through a constitutional amendment, the general ticket became nearly universal by the early 1830s. Since that time, politicians and political observers of diverse stripes have lamented the impact of this practice on presidential elections and repeatedly pressed for reforms that would get rid of it. If the general ticket were eliminated, predicted former Pennsylvania Senator Charles Buckalew in 1877, popular disfranchisement within a state will be swept away, while the supporters of no candidate will control more than their due share of electoral power. 50 years later, Clarence Lee, a respected California congressman, declared that our system of electing the president lacks the inherent quality of political justice, and the fundamental defect is in the unit voting system. Even more widely disparaged than winner-take-all has been the contingent election system, the constitutional procedure for deciding an election when no candidate has won a majority of the nation's electoral votes. If that happens, the president is chosen by the House of Representatives, with each state delegation casting one vote. This would permit an election to be decided by states with a relatively small minority of the nation's population, less than 20% in 2020, an outcome so inconsistent with Republican principles that Thomas Jefferson, in 1823, denounced the provision as the most dangerous blot in our Constitution. The contingent election system has been utilized only twice, in 1800 and in 1824, leading to controversy on both occasions. After the 1820s, the emergence of durable two-party systems greatly reduced the odds of an election ending up in the House of Representatives, and the shortcomings of the constitutional procedure have receded from view. Yet, even the occasional possibility that a third party could garner enough votes to prevent any candidate from gaining a majority has occurred in 1948, 1968,